Krishna, everyone. Welcome to our Friday Sangha. And we have a slightly unusual evening today. We kind of saw the performance by our kids who have been kind of growing up with us, for the last 8-10 years. And now their parents are going to sing Jaya, Radha, Madhava. And they will also give their first Bhagavad Gita class in our Sangha. So let us all welcome them by 3 loud Haribo. Haribo! 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 So today's verses are Bhagavad Gita chapter 2, verses 12 and 13. So one of the very, very important verses from Bhagavad Gita that sets the tone that who we are and what our goals in life value should be. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. it comes with an awe of inspiration. Reading Prabhupada's book that we've been doing this Sankirtan and this reading of Bhagavad Gita. And in my view, chapter 2 is the most important. Yes, I understand it's a sandwich, 6 chapters each, but chapter 2, as rightly mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, it is a summary of the entire Bhagavad Gita. It gives a glimpse of what is going to come and how Krishna is taking it bit by bit by attacking all the misconceptions that we have had. He starts by, this is the first chapter where he actually speaks his philosophy. This is where he starts his teaching. If you think Bhagavad Gita as a jewel, like all jewel, it comes in a nice casing. It started off with Sanjaya. It started off with Dhritarashtra talking. That is the top casing, and it will finish with Sanjaya talking. That will be last verse in Bhagavad Gita. But the jewel is what Krishna says. Now, Krishna could have said this much simpler to Arjuna. Arjuna is an exalted soul. He's not like me. He understood things much easier. He has read the Vedas from a very young age, and he understands things. He could have said it in 5 minutes and started off with the battle. But Krishna took 700 words, not for Arjuna, but for us, me specifically. He wanted to enlighten us through Arjuna how we can use Bhagavad Gita in our daily life. Especially the second chapter, it talks about 4 main things. Gita, G-I-T-A. It talks about Guru. It talks about I for identity. It talks about T for 2 duties. And it talks about A for Atmaram. In the start of this chapter, we understood how Arjuna, who was bewildered in his condition, didn't know what to do, approached a guru. Now, Arjuna already had guru. It was Dronacharya, who was on the other side fighting. He could have approached him. He could have approached anyone else. But he chose Krishna, who was his cousin, a charioteer, a friend. At that time, when he chose him as a guru, the one verse that was important was 2.7, where he said, "Now I am your disciple, and I'm surrendering unto you. Please instruct me what to do." Now that shows us how to approach a guru for spiritual knowledge. In this world, if we need to learn anything, and if we need to gain knowledge, we need a guru, we need a teacher. Most of what we think knowledge is not knowledge, it's only a skill. We misinterpret it as knowledge. Right from our birth, we get the skill on how to survive, how to eat, how to ask for food, and then at a slightly older ages, we get the skill of how to earn. That's got nothing to do with the knowledge. All that we learn is only skill in this world. We are not learning knowledge unless we are learning about Krishna, which is the real knowledge. Now, Arjuna approached a spiritual guru to gain knowledge when he was bewildered. I is talking about identity. Here Krishna reveals our true identity, who we are. Why did we come here? What is our purpose here? The next stage that we will come through in chapter 2 is about 2 duties. What are the 2 duties for every living being in this world? Which is Swadharma, which is our duty as in the material world functioning between me I'm a father, I work in a company, I'm a son, so on and so forth. That's Swadharma, where we have interrelationships here. The next one is Sanatana Dharma, where our relationship with God. Now, these both are and should be balanced. Now, when I was younger, I was thinking half a kilo of palak, green vegetable, and half a kilo of sweet is quite balanced in my diet. But that's what we're doing here as well. We're just picking up Sanatana Dharma as being one bit of it, and we are concentrating too much on Swadharma. They need to be in balance. And Krishna reveals how to approach it and how to maintain the balance in forthcoming chapters as well. The last one is A, standing for Atma Rama. Now, Ram, as you know, is pleasure. Rama is a person who gives you pleasure. Atma Rama talks about how one can give himself pleasure even when there is a lot of commotion around him. Be it happiness or be it sorrow, it's commotion around him. He can be self-sufficient. And that's why chapter 2 is, in my view, very, very important. And I feel slightly difficult that I've been given this choice to present it here. I am not quite knowledgeable, so I'll try my best in saying what Prabhupada has said. It's got nothing to do with what I've said. So before we go through the verse, let's go through. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
The verse 2.12. Natvevaham jatu nasam natvam neme janadipa nachaiva nabhavishyamaha sarve vaya mataparam. Let's repeat line after line. Natvevaham jatu nasam
Natvevaham jatu nasam
natvam neme janadipa
natvam neme janadiva
nachaiva nabhavishyamaha
nachaiva nabhavishyamaha
sarve vaya mataparam.
sarve vayam pathaparam.
The translation by Guru Prabhupada. Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. Krishna is talking to Arjuna through his bewilderment, saying, you don't have to worry that you're going to kill anybody here, because there is never a time when you, me, or anyone did not exist. The item that specifically attracts me here is he's talking about three different aspects. One is me, you, and all these kings. He's not separating himself as a soul or as a person. He says a soul is an individual which is on the same level irrespective of who you are. It could be a king, it could be a soldier, it could be, in our current age, a CEO, a worker, it doesn't matter. We're all the same once it becomes a soul. A dog, a cow, it's a soul. So that's one thing that we have to understand, that we are not the body, we are the soul. and as a soul, we are all the same. The other thing that Krishna refers here is about there's a specific word here, Jatu. Jatu is meaning forever, or all the time. He's not speculating here, he's just mentioning something very important. He is establishing the truth that we have been here before, we will be here in the future as well. He doesn't say you will continue to be. He does not say you will continue to exist. He says you have continued, meaning this is you've been there, you will continue to carry on. In this verse, he is destroying the two conditioning that we have got, which is materialism, which begins with, oh, when I'm born, then life starts. The other thing is nihilism. When nihilism is where we think everything starts at birth, but it ends at death. That's what we are conditioned to believe. This is our life. This is one life. It starts here, it ends here. We've got to do this, we've got to do that. But Krishna says it is not that. It is a continuation of one life after the other. He goes on to explain how this works in the next verse.
2.13 Dehinosmin yata dehe kaumaram yavvanam jara tata dehantara praptir dhirastatra namuhyati. Repeat line after line. Dehinosmin yata dehe kaumaram yavvanam jara tata dehantara praptir dhirastatra namuhyati.
Translation: as the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. Here it talks about our humanity's oldest fear. What will happen to me when I stop to exist? So will I stop existing? As we grow older, the fear of stopping to exist grows more onto a person. It comes, will I be alone? Will death be difficult? Will it be this? Will it be that? But Krishna crushes all those thoughts and says, you've never not existed. It is just a soul, like it changes the shirt, it moves on. So you as a person will not suffer. It is only the body that is suffering. Since every living, this is purport by Srila Prabhupada, since every living entity is an individual soul, each is changing the body every moment, manifesting sometimes as a child, sometimes as a youth, and sometimes as an old man. Yet the same spirit soul is there and does not undergo a change. Medical science says a person changes, every cell in the body changes 7 to 8 years. So I'm not the same person I was 8 years ago. That body has decomposed already. It has gone out as nails, hair, whatever, sweat, everything. It's gone out. I'm not the same person, but I am the same person. How is it possible? That is how we see ourselves, but we don't realize it. We have been conditioned to see, this is my body, but we don't realize that it is my body rather than I. So here it says, like the same person goes through childhood to old age, the soul goes through from one body to another. This individual soul finally changes the body at death and transmigrates to another body. And since it is sure to have another body in the next birth, either material body or spiritual body, there was no cause for lamentation by Arjuna on account of death, neither for Bhishma nor for Drona, or for whom he was so much concerned. Rather, he should rejoice for their changing bodies from old to new one, and thereby rejuvenating their energy. Such changes of body account for varieties of enjoyment or suffering according to one's work in life. I remember the first time I got a new phone. That was a long time ago. And then initially I was very careful. And then it changes. The phone changes. You break it, it changes. The phone changes. But every time we get into something new, there is an excitement. That is what Krishna is highlighting here. Don't worry about the death. Feel happy that the soul is getting a new body. It could be a spiritual body because Bhishma was such an exalted figure. He had pretty much mastered every art. The only karma left for him was being on a deathbed with arrows. So he was sure to go to the spirit world and not be retained in Earth or any other planet. So Krishna is pointing out to Arjuna, remember, people are getting a new body. Many are getting a spiritual body because they're fighting for dharma. So there's no point for lamentation here. Any man who has perfected the knowledge of constitution of the individual soul, the super soul, and the nature, both material and spiritual, is called Dhira, the most sober man. Such a man never deluded by the changes of body. In this verse there was the word Dhira, which mentions as being a sober person. A sober person doesn't mean he is detached. It just means he is not affected by these external commotion. Dhira is not like, I don't care about it, I'm not affected by it. So that's a very difficult state to be, where you're not affected by it, but you are fully aware of it. And it makes it even more difficult when you have an attachment or a relationship with the other person. That's what Arjuna is going through at the moment. He is going to fight with his guru, which makes it very difficult for him to sever the ties, but he has to fight for dharma. In here, Krishna does not mention Arjuna to leave his swadharma and act on just Sanatana Dharma. He insists, Krishna time and time insists on playing the role of Swadharma and then being aware of Sanatana Dharma and have that balance. When Arjuna pleaded to Krishna saying, I don't want to do this, I will give up and be a sannyasi and live in a forest and just follow the Sanatana Dharma, Krishna said, no, don't do that. Because Sanatana Dharma, though good, has to be followed in the right way at the right time. It may not be right for everybody to give up their Swadharma and go just doing Sanatana Dharma prematurely, because that's not what Krishna wanted. Krishna wants us to carry on in the world with Swadharma and Sanatana Dharma. Finding the perfect balance is what is most difficult, because we have all conditioned just for Swadharma for such a long time. That's where a guru should help us in finding the perfect balance in life for us between Swadharma and Sanatana Dharma. Then Prabhupada goes on for how Mayavadi theory, which is the oneness after death theory, is not the right one. So the Mayavadi theory of oneness of the spirit soul cannot be entertained on the ground that the spirit soul cannot be cut into pieces as fragmental portion. Now, before jumping into Mayavadi theory, the Mayavadis believe that a spirit soul, once it leaves the body, merges with the ultimate Brahman, the spiritual light or the spiritual energy, and joins itself with the spiritual energy. Now that I have read philosophies of Mayavadis, and before reading Prabhupada's book and Prabhupada's argument against Mayavadi, I was truly believing that was true. Because until you read this, it made sense. It does make sense. So once you die, you join the spiritual sky and you just join the Brahman. But apparently not, because Prabhupada quite clearly gives us it does not work technically. He's gone through all the philosophies and tells us if that is the case, then the way that spirit soul works is you can't split it. And Krishna says that you cannot split the spirit soul. If it is joined, then what Krishna says is you, I, and other kings as individuals cannot be true. And Krishna is never wrong. Krishna can never be wrong. So the Mayavadi philosophy is like, it is like a drop or a pot. We are all waters in different pots. But then, once we die, once the pot breaks, we all go to the ocean. But once we are in the ocean, there's nothing like, oh, it was in a square pot, it was in a mud pot. There's no individuality. The water is just water. And there's no individuality. But Krishna says there is individuality. Each and every one has been there and will continue to exist. So the Mayavadi philosophy is not true, is what Prabhupada is carrying on to mention here. It cannot be cut into pieces. Such cutting into different individual souls would make the supreme cleavable or changeable against the principle of supreme souls being unchangeable. As confirmed in the Gita, the fragmental portions of supreme exist eternally, Sanatana, and are called Shara. That is, they have a tendency to fall down into material nature. These fragmental portions are eternally so, and even liberation of the individual soul remain the same fragmented. So even if we are liberated and go to the spiritual sky, we are still us as an individual soul, along with other spirit souls as individuals in the spiritual sky, or Vaikuntham. When the sky is reflecting in water, the reflections represents both sun and moon and the stars. The stars can be compared to the living entities, and the spirit soul is represented by Arjuna, and the supreme soul is the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna. They are not the same level, as it will be apparent in the beginning of the 4th chapter. If Arjuna is on the same level with Krishna, and Krishna is not superior to Arjuna, then their relationship of instructor and instructed becomes meaningless. If both of them are deluded by the illusionary energy Maya, then there is no need for one being the instructor and the other being the instructed. Such instructions would be useless because in the clutches of Maya, no one can have the authoritative instructor. Under these circumstances, it is admitted that Lord Krishna is the Supreme Lord, superior in portion to living entities, Arjuna, who is a forgetful soul deluded by Maya. That finishes chapter 2, verse 13. I know I sped it through, but is there any corrections to start with and then questions, Prabhuji?
Let us make it interactive. So if you have any questions, there's flow questions, and let's make it interactive and understand the whole thing.
Okay, sorry. This is
Of all the time, you had to ask a question when I am here.
amazing. That's why I feel really from that. So it's broken down well. So thank you. So that at Mara, one can give himself pleasure. That pleasure is that through Krishna's potency. Is that how I misunderstood?
Sorry,
That's
Atmarama.
Yeah.
Okay, Atmarama means, and Prabhuji correct me if I'm wrong, it's a state where a person is fully satisfied with himself.
Okay.
It is like dhiras. Dhiras are not affected by external influences or external stimulus. They are not bewildered by happiness or sorrow. So Atmaram is a kind of a person who is a dhira. Atmarama is Ram means pleasure. Rama is the one who gives pleasure. Atmarama is one who gives pleasure to himself. He is self-sufficient. He is self-sustained. He does not get troubled by external influences. So I get 3 escalations in a day, my BP shoots up. Well, he is somebody like our Prabhuji, calm, blissful, happy. Is it correction?
Yeah, it is our state of our consciousness. Yeah? That we have subdued our mind, we have subdued our ego, and also intelligence. Intelligence has dovetailed with Krishna consciousness. So in our book reading a few weeks ago, we kind of read a super consciousness, and that is Krishna consciousness. So Krishna's consciousness, super consciousness. We just need to connect with that. Without connecting with Krishna, we cannot be Atman. We cannot be satisfied with whatever we have. So at this moment, we just need to be satisfied. That person who is Atmaram is going to be satisfied instantly. There is no hankering and there is no lamentation. So there is no lamentation of past and there is no hankering of the future. But that's why we are torn apart, isn't it? What happened in the past, we bicker about it, we talk about it, there is no end to it. Yeah? She did that, she said that, he did that, he said that. We are so much kind of engrossed in that thinking and talking about it, churning and extracting more and more juice to gossip more and more about it, isn't it? And then the future, hankering about the future. Yeah? I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to plan, I'm going to buy a new car, I'm going to do this. My neighbor bought a car, so I'm going to buy a better car. There is hankering endless. But this person who is Atmaram, just satisfied within, in his service, in their service, to Krishna, connected, doctrine, that's it, full stop. No more chasing of mirage. Just happiness is there, but you are searching in the wrong place. Happiness is there, blissful life is there. Atma-like person is completely blissed out. Look at that person sitting there. He has his dental job done, but he's blissed out there. See? People take a few days off after dental work. Person comes to work, he's offering service to Krishna, he's happy. And that's the state we want to be in. Doesn't matter externally what happens to us. Yes, we have, as I said, that we all have swadharma. Krishna chastises us now, but we must not follow the swadharma. But our swadharma has to be dovetailed with Krishna consciousness. That's very important. While performing our duties or whatever we have, husband, wife, children, whatever that is, but it has to be dovetailed. If it is done separately without connecting with Krishna, this is just a shram evahi kevalam. That's what the Bhagavatam says, that we've done all the activities, but the end result is zero. Unless we add that Krishna consciousness to multiple zero there, it has no value. How much swadharma we do, but unless we add Krishna there, it's all have no value. But real swadharma, what is swa? Swa means my real self. My real self. We have to realize our real self, the das, and das. That we are servant and servant and servant of Krishna's servant. That's our real position, not the boss of bosses and bosses of bosses. That's what we think, isn't it? But we want to become master. That's what the dichotomy is, that we just chasing the mirage of being the boss, being the God, being the Lord. Atmara doesn't chasing, not chasing anything. Just self-satisfied within, with Krishna, not without. You should never ever think that person is satisfied. Yes, that's it. No, satisfied with Krishna. That's it. And that kind of person is very, very rare. Very rare, that person who is satisfied, happy, blissed out.
It's really hard. I know this chapter, I've heard this chapter before, and that sloka is, I think it was the second most quoted Prabhupada sloka that he said.
Yes.
Is that right? That's the second one, isn't it?
Yeah.
So he obviously quoted that a lot, didn't he? So this must be really important to him as well.
But it is very important verse to
Just
understand.
reaching it though with materials in this world is difficult.
Yeah. It is one of the most important verses for sadhakas, for sadhana, we are sadhakas, we are practitioners of. What's the verse? Sanskrit? Anyone? Huh? Yeah. 213. 213.
That's on the screen now.
Dehino vasmin yatha dehe kaumanam yavanam Khadyanantara bhakti vira sadranam. Yeah?
Yes.
Dehino asmin yatha dehe. Dehino. We are bodies. And bodies keep changing. Dehino asmin yatha dehe. Kaumaram means
Boyhood, child.
child. Kaumaram, Yovan means youth. Jara means old age. Kaumaram, Yovanam, Jara. The bodies will keep changing. Bodies, we are, so when we were kind of, brought to the mother's womb, time is back. Yeah, time is back. We just accumulated. This body is accumulation of this nature, isn't it? We have fed our body. We borrowed from the nature, from the trees, the plants, and whatever that is, and we call it ourselves. And we call it mind, isn't it? We have accumulated from trees and plants, we call it mind. We're so green, yeah? We call it mind. Dhira, statue, as Prabhu was elaborately saying that dhira, sober. Have you seen drunkard person? Yeah? We see it all the time in the hospital. Our task is to make them sober and go home. Yeah? And that's what the task of Guru is. We are drunkards, we are drug addicts of this materialism. Yeah? There's so much kind of lamenting and hankering and so much. Yeah. No, we are drug addicts. Yeah? We are drug addicts. That's all it is. That's a difference. So conditioned, you can never imagine. We are so conditioned to our kind of imaginary, happiness, sorrow, sadness, and so many. We all have a definition of what will make me happy. Unless I acquire that, I will not be happy or not be satisfied.
That
Yeah.
keeps changing. That definition keeps changing.
Yeah.
Because that's a moving target. What we think now,
Yes.
and then we get that, we're still not happy because that changes.
It's scientifically proven that whatever goals we set on long term, that goal itself changes by the time we get there. The goalpost keeps changing. Goalpost keeps changing. We are always just like a carrot before a donkey, we make that donkey work, all hard work. And the donkey is thinking that just one step more and I'll get my nice, juicy, red colored carrot. We all have been there. And not only that, we have been conditioned by the person who should have been to enlighten us. That's our parents, that's our elders, that's our society, that's our guru. The guru has to be that person who demolishes all this drama that we have been mental gymnastics, that the thought says that. And make us so. That's the guru. That guru who is defined, who can chastise us. Because malamidam, how this impurity has come to mind. Correct it, rectify it. Sometimes chastisement, like if you listen to Srila Prabhupada's lecture, sometimes you have been very, very happy with his disciples. Because that's the guru's job. If you're trying to find a guru who's very nicely, cuddly and very nice, take some money and be happy and yes, you're doing fantastic, go on your business and let me live a lavish life, drive a nice car and you don't want that. We want a guru like Shivram Swami Maharaj who can chastise you heavily on your face, but next time he will hug you and love you. I've seen that. There you go. So he's a Paramananda Prabhu, he's disciple of His Holiness Shivram Swami Maharaj. Very exalted personality, Shivram Swami Maharaj. I met him first time in 99. He was much younger, he would jump high and down. Yes. Any other questions?
Sorry, you just said something about the Mayavadi and what was the other term?
No.
About the deaths.
So the Mayavadis believe that once a person is dead, the soul reaches the Brahma or the natural energy. Yeah, Brahma Jyoti. It reaches the Brahma Jyoti and it unifies with the Brahma Jyoti. That's what Mayavadis believe. And without hearing Srila Prabhupada's book, it is quite easy to understand that. Oh yeah, and relate to it, to believe in it. But the moment you start reading Srila Prabhupada's book, it's like, now that didn't make sense. None of the other philosophies make sense. If you think about world's religion, I'm not talking about, we've got to discuss differently because religion is very sectarian. It's based on faith, and the faith could change. But the philosophies behind the religion are generally supposed to be quite solid. And there are very little religion in existence now that has a strong philosophy behind it, where it talks at a level that I can understand, and it talks at the level that a PhD level that they can understand. So the current religions that talk about God is very wishy-washy. Most of the religions talk about God as being a supreme figure. Maybe they extend saying, oh, he's all loving, all caring, but there's no technicalities behind it. Now, the Sanatana Dharma has got many philosophies of many ways of understanding what Bhagavad Gita is. Each of them have got their own interpretation. Mayavadis have got their own interpretation. And the Mayavadis believe that the soul reaches Brahma Jyoti on the body's death. They also believe that the soul and the body are different. The body is not the soul, we are not the body, we are the soul. They believe all those. But on death of the body, the soul reaches Brahma Jyoti, which is the energy of Krishna, rather than Krishna himself. They don't believe that. They believe the Brahma Jyoti as the God. Which means the soul reaches the Brahma Jyoti and it joins with the Brahma Jyoti and it unifies there. Like slightly deviated from there, it's a nirvana state of Buddhism. But that's not true, because then we cease to become an individual. The moment we join with Brahma Jyoti, we cease to become as an individual. But Krishna says, you as an individual existed and will exist. So, be it spiritual body or material body, we will continue to exist as an individual, meaning we don't join into Brahma Jyoti at all.
So the soul
So
transfers.
Is it true that we don't join it, or what is
It is true that we won't join it, because the Brahma Jyoti is the supreme soul, and we are a fragment of that soul. We will live our relationship with the supreme soul in Vaikuntha Loka. Any correction, Prabhuji?
Yeah, there is a more elaborate description in Srimad Bhagavatam. Let Mukunda Prabhu speak on this. Prabhu.
Sorry, what was the question?
Mayavadi philosophy
Mayavadi.
after death and
No, he's very good.
Right,
Bhagavad
okay.
Gita.
I can only hear so much. But sorry, what was what were you referring to? Srimad Bhagavatam?
Yeah, so there was a difference between Brahman and Paramatma.
Oh, right, yeah, Bhagavan, the three aspects. Yeah, I mean, even on a scientific level, if you think about Brahma Jyoti, then it's considered the energy, right? Because energy has to have an energetic, a source of energy. Energy just doesn't exist on its own. Electricity, there's a generator which generates electricity. So it's even on a scientific level, on a materialistic level, you can understand that, right? So we should be able to understand on a spiritual level as well, but that's a lack of realization, basically, lack of understanding. To understand, it's very common because Srila Prabhupada came to the West to get rid of this impersonalism. He says it in the prayers we say to Srila Prabhupada, they come to the Western countries to get rid of this impersonal philosophy. Because it's not true, and even on a simple level we can understand that, that energy has to have an energetic. There has to be a generator that generates the energy. But it's very common within a lot of philosophies and religions that we're all one, and then this Brahma Jyoti, this is oneness. And many people, even they have near-death experiences, talk about the white light, yes? All this stuff, you hear a lot, so it's conditioned into many people's consciousness that this is what the absolute truth is.
Yeah.
Whereas there are higher levels of understanding, and the Bhagavatam reveals that, the Prabhupada reveals that, and Chaitanya reveals that. That beyond, and even in the Bible, there's always this thing about, you read things in Christianity and other religions about there being some, almost like a smoke screen, God's hiding behind something. Sometimes it's a burning bush or whatever it may be, but God is there, but they don't go any further than that. They tend to sort of like believe on the absolute truth is this energy. So we're given more information here, much more similar to Prabhupada and the Srimad Bhagavatam especially, as you say, distributing of this knowledge, much higher level of knowledge and understanding. And Mayavadi is partial realization. Yes? Is that what you...
Yes, yeah. So Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagwan iti Satyate. So there are three states. So people who are just jnanis, just reading books and Vedanta, and they negate a lot of things, they go and merge in Brahma Jyoti. The Brahma Jyoti can be temporary state. If you go and merge, but
that's what, according to Mayavadi, you're saying.
no. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam.
Okay.
From Srimad Bhagavatam. That you go and merge, but that state is like a seed that has a lot of energy in it, but it has not been put in the earth. So we don't know the real quality of it. Yeah, even though it has a lot of potency to become a large tree, but it has been kind of kept aside dry, and there is no emotions, there is no kind of relationship. And what the Atma is looking for relationships. That's why we always kind of busy finding relationships. People who don't have a relationship, just imagine it, they're depressed, they are lonely. Yes? That's why we keep looking for relationships, because that's our nature, that we want to have connection with people, Krishna. and devotees. But we cutting the ties completely and making that individual who is looking for love and affection completely morose and sad. Not happy. They're not blissed out like devotees do. So when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came to Banaras, he met a very kind of famous Prakashanand Saraswati, and he was Mayavadi person. And he heard that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had come to Banaras, who is effulgent, he's a personality. He did not believe that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was personality of Godhead at that point. But he invited Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in order to correct Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that you become like us, come and be with us and we'll teach you how to read Vedanta. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied that my Guru has told me to don't read Vedanta, I'm full number one. Just chant this mantra and dance. Then in the night, Prakashanand Saraswati, he got the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And next day he came and fell prostrated at the feet of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he converted the entire clan. Then comes Paramatma, the yogis, who meditate in their hearts. So people who meditate in their heart, they go to Vaikuntha. That's a dasyas. Okay? But when you worship the personality of God, Krishna, you worship personality of God in 5 rasas. Yeah? Vasalya rasa, friendship, conjugal, so many, so forth, Vasalyans. So have a relationship with one Krishna. And you can serve Krishna. Because that's what Bhakti is. Bhakti is serving. Bhakti is not just enjoying. Bhakti is serving. And in that service we enjoy. In that service we enjoy. Yeah? Krishna carried his friend on his shoulders in the Madhava. That's what the Bhakti does. Bhakti makes God your son. Bhakti makes Krishna your friend. Bhakti makes Krishna in love. And that's what we are looking for. That's what we're looking for. So if we don't get to that platform, we not achieve the full potential of our spirit soul. So the full potential of our spirit soul is to meet Krishna and enjoy it. Yeah, that's what it is. Okay. That's the full potential. Let's not settle with the half potential of our personality. Yeah. We are the spirit soul, and that's what our aim should be. But aim is to serve. And in that service, we find the true love.
So the souls who have been merged into Brahma Jyoti, they will come back because they're not happy.
Yes.
So they will become Shara and come down again to material world.
In the purport of this verse, Srila Prabhupada says that some souls come back.
Come back, Shara.
Yes.
In the purport of this verse, Srila Prabhupada says that. Okay. Because you're not happy.
It
Because
depends
souls,
on your life, the karmas and things.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
after the death, whether you come back or
Yes. So get jnana. What is the identity of our soul? Sat, Chit, and Ananda. What is Sat? What is Sat?
It is true.
Eternal.
Eternal. Chit is knowledge.
Knowledge.
So when you Chit, yeah, you have all the knowledge. Yeah, but there is no eternity. When you go to Vaikuntha, you have a Chit and also
Sat.
Sat. Okay. But when you go to with Krishna, you get Sat, Chit, and Anand, all 3 in full. Yeah, all 3 in full. And that is only possible when we connect with this personality who is standing in that little temple there. It's called Krishna.
But I think people do feel it when you're alive. They feel the connection. It's not that only after that you get that blissfulness.
It is very easy to become Sahajya. We think that I can meet Krishna very easily like that. Maya plays trick and makes you feel, oh, I'm now with Krishna, I can dance, If you go to Vrindavan, you get fooled by so many Sahajyas there. Yeah? They cry, they dance, they do all of that, they decorate themselves as a kind of female, or the male decorate themselves as male. You don't have to do all of this drama. We don't have to become Sahaja. That person who has a Krishna in the heart and the person who has realized will never externally showcase that. Like Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada demonstrated that. Even though Srila Prabhupada was the highest platform you can imagine, but externally he never kind of demonstrated that he is at such a high state. He cherished Krishna's love in his heart. That's what the person who has realized that their Swarupa, I'm talking about Swarupa, with their identity in the spiritual world. Everyone sitting here, we all have our own identity in the spiritual world. We all have. We don't realize it, but that will come in due course once we slowly kind of surrender ourselves. We come to that platform and realize my identity is that I'm going to be the servant of this person in the Goloka Vrindavan. That's Swarupa Siddhi. But in that Swarupa, there is many other Siddhis. Samekya, Sarokya, and Sanidhya. There are so many varieties. That's the teacher. But we all have identity.
I mean, feeling connectivity, ideally, like when you are in a Kirtan, satsang, or in a public. Even when you are alone, sometimes you're just feeling, you feel some sort of thing is there, you don't even think of anything, just.
The quality of that person who has been connected with Krishna, they will not talk about anything nonsense of this material world. Their lamentation and hankering will just disappear. You'll not be lamenting for, what happened to me, what happened to my children, what happened to my family, what happened to my country, what happened to this, what happened to that. Nothing. And there is no kind of hankering for the future. Yeah? Because you just come to understand I'm the spirit. The day that person understands that we are spirit soul, that's it. All the chasing business will cease to exist. Still you do your work, but do your work as a duty rather than as a chasing mirage to make yourself happy. You do it for pleasure of Shri Radha Gopinathji.
Like he explained earlier, will not be affected by sorrows or happiness.
Yes.
Mataji, you had a question. You wanted to say something.
Yeah, go on. No, you had a question.
No, I had a question. I was in dilemma. I think it is resolved. But if the soul does not merge with Brahma Jyoti, then probably the soul will be transferring itself from body to body.
Yeah.
I mean, from one body to other body.
Yes. That's what it is. That's what this verse is.
Yes.
So in this verse, Krishna is saying that you transfer yourself from being a young boy or young person to adulthood and then to old age and then you die.
Yeah.
The cycle repeats.
Yeah.
It's not until we break this cycle of birth and death. That's the most important. Samsara. This is called samsara.
Yeah.
That you born, you die. You born, you die. You born, you die. So all the work done, unless we have displacement of consciousness, all work done is zero. Once we kind of transmigrate from this consciousness of being I and mine and my surrounding and everything is, yes, you come back. Yeah, Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Mananam, Punarapi Jatari. I think we posted that verse recently in your, what that called? What's the status? The Shankaracharya, who was a predominant personality in the lineage of impersonalists, who was the incarnation of Lord Shiva, when he came to the tail end of his existence, he preached that, oh foolish people, Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Moodhamate, oh foolish people. Take Krishna's name, take Krishna's name, take Krishna's name. Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Mananam. You born again, you will die again. Punarapi Mananam, Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Jatari Jananesham. You're going to go back into the womb of your mother and born again. This cycle of, we born, there is a life of it, and we think, see, fantastic, I'm so handsome, I'm so beautiful, I'm so strong, I'm so powerful. Yeah? Death, and again this.
Some souls get stuck between this state and this.
Yes.
We all do.
Yeah, we all get trapped. This human life is so important that we have this consciousness that I'm trapped. If you want to experience it, you will experience it that, yes, I'm trapped. And you see around and you feel that you're trapped. That everyone is doing the same thing. Punah panvischarvatim charvanam. That's a Bhagavatam again. That we're chewing the chewed and again and thinking, oh, that person did not get the juice, I will get the juice.
When the souls get stuck between, like, going from body to body, like,
Yes.
like with that whole
Yeah. Because once you miss this human body, you don't know what body you're going to get next. Antakale chamamevam ismran at the time of death, whatever the Chetana consciousness is, you go into that body. Done. So if we are not prepared, if we're not, from the childhood, if we're not preparing ourselves, dying to live.
No, it's never too late to.
It's never too late, my friend.
Yeah.
It's
So if
never
you think
too
about
late.
Krishna, for nothing but Krishna for the past 2 or 3 years, then
we just had to make ourselves work on this. We have this opportunity. Any other questions? We have 3-4 minutes before we do Arati. But it was a good interactive session. We really enjoyed it, and thank you. Thank our speakers today.
Thank our speakers today.
That was really, really good, and thank you to all of you making it, kind of churning the nectar. That's what that's our aim, to make audience talk, interact, ask questions.
It's better understanding of
Yes.
to ask questions.
Okay, let's do Arati.
Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Krishna
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Shri Vrindavan Dham ki Mathura Dham ki Jagannath Puri Dham ki Ganga Mai ki Mai ki all glories to somebody. All glories to somebody. All glories to somebody. All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Shri Guru Shri Gauranga.
Mahaprasade Govinde,
Mahaprasade Govinde,
Nama Brahmani Vaishnavi, Sarva Punya Vadam Rajan, Vasodai Vajayate, Sarira Abhitaja, Krishna Pado Doya Moy, Krishna Pado Doya Moy, Gauri Bhare Jiva Joy, Gauri Bhare Jiva Joy, Swaprasadana Dino Bhai, Swaprasadana Dino Bhai, Seyanam Rita Pao, Seyanam Rita Pao, Radha Krishna Guna Gao, Radha Krishna Guna Gao, Prema Dako Chaitanya Nitai, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Mahaprasadam ki Jai.
I think I'll give a shout out for our two Vaishnavas.
This is Bhakti Leon, by the way.
Bhakti
Leon.
Bhakti Leon.
Our youngest devotee.
Ah, okay.
In Bhakti.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
See, whenever Vaishnavas come, it's a festival, isn't it? Seeing the personality itself is a festival and joy, cause of joy. Thank you for blessing us.
It's so nectar when we haven't had it for a while.
The altar is so gorgeous.
Yes.
It's really, really different from the last year.
Yeah. And it's all glories to Jil Mataji, our Kalakanti Mataji. And also Ashaji. And we have
Nari Shakti.
all Nari Shakti, but Priya Mataji as well. So they all together do it. And I'm sure you remember from a year ago or so, compared to that now.
Yeah.
Krishna has got his throne, his abode, you know. It's fantastic. Yeah. That's very nice. Hare Krishna. And let's have the sadhana. Start with the sadhana.